Pay attention to Ina Claire Richardson, 69, pushing her shopping cart in the Albertsons supermarket at 9:17 p.m. She has less than 2 hours to live because a man in a fluorescent jacket around 50 years old was watching her from inside the store. The man who tried to forcibly kiss Ina outside the Albertsons supermarket, she recoiled, clearly very upset. Her body language conveyed anger and defiance as she walked away, seemingly shouting at Mohammed. On this day, Ina just wanted to buy groceries and go home. But on this day, this man had only one intention: to steal everything from her. What happens next will shock the entire community. Friday, November 7th, 2014. Early morning joggers at peaceful Chestnut Beach in Clarkston, Washington, make a discovery that will shatter this quiet riverside community to its core. The body of an elderly woman, discovered without any of her clothing, lies abandoned near the water's edge. Evidence showing clear signs of a desperate struggle tells a grim story. Marks on her wrists suggest she fought back. A broken fingernail indicates desperate resistance. Detective Richard Mazinski of the Clarkston Police Department arrives at what he will later describe as one of the most brutal crime scenes in his 33-year career. The victim's feet are clean, free from dirt, meaning she didn't walk here. Someone brought her. Someone callously left her behind. The absence of any personal belongings, any identification, any clothes sends a clear message. This attacker wanted time to get away, time to cover his tracks. For 14 years, Clarkston has been free from violent crime. That streak ends today. And now detectives have a Jane Doe, a horrific crime scene, and absolutely zero leads. The clock is ticking. In cases like this, the first 48 hours are everything. After that, trails go cold. Evidence disappears. Suspects vanish. Later that same day, a gas station clerk provides the break investigators desperately need. She recognizes the victim. The Jane Doe has a name: Ina Claire Richardson, a 69-year-old woman who lived just across the Snake River in Lewiston, Idaho. She was known around town for her volunteer work, her warm smile, her generous heart. Ina was the kind of grandmother everyone wished they had. 1,100 miles away in Santa Barbara, California, Ina's twin brother, Glenn Griffiths, receives the call that will change everything. His sister, his twin, taken. Not just dead, but taken by another. The word carries a weight that crushes differently. Death is one thing. Such an act is a violation, a theft, an ending written by someone else's hand. Glenn and his wife, Carrie, immediately make plans to travel north. They need answers. They need justice. They need to understand how someone so kind, so gentle, could become the victim of such an act.
You know how wonderful she was. And I think I just regretted not spending more time with her.
Ina Richardson didn't drive. This simple fact becomes crucial to understanding her final hours. On the evening of November 6th, she visited Albertsons grocery store, a routine trip for a woman who often walked through town running errands. Detective Mazinski learns that Ina was last seen there by her friend Jeff Smith, a 56-year-old man who encountered her while shopping around 9:30 that night. Jeff comes forward voluntarily, his conscience heavy with the knowledge that he might have been the last friendly face Ina ever saw. He describes their encounter. She asked for a ride home. He explained he was on his bicycle. She said it was okay. It was just Ina being Ina, never wanting to impose, always understanding. Jeff had no idea that this brief conversation would haunt him for the rest of his life. Detective Mazinski heads to Albertsons, hoping their security system captured something useful. What he's about to discover will do more than provide clues. It will reconstruct an entire timeline of predation, showing exactly how a monster stalks his prey in plain sight. At 9:17 that evening, cameras show Ina entering the east side door wearing her blue raincoat and white hat, exactly as Jeff described. She moves through the store, shopping, completely unaware that she's being hunted. At 10:30, footage captures her conversation with Jeff Smith near the registers. She appears happy, animated, social. This is Ina in her element, connecting with people, brightening someone's day. At 10:39, Ina ends her conversation with Jeff and pushes her cart out of camera view. By 10:42, Jeff is seen leaving the store on his bicycle, their paths diverging forever. The cameras confirm Jeff's story completely. He's a witness, not a suspect. But if Jeff isn't involved, then who is? Detective Mazinski keeps watching. At 11:06, Ina walks toward the exit with her bags of groceries. Nobody is following her. Nobody appears threatening. She steps outside and seems to wait, perhaps hoping for a taxi that never comes. Then she begins walking away from the store, a 69-year-old woman carrying shopping bags into the November darkness. The motion-activated camera captures her moving further from the light, further from safety, and then the camera drops out. When it comes back online, minutes later, Ina Claire Richardson is gone, vanished. Within 2 hours, she'll be lost forever. But Detective Mazinski isn't finished with the footage. Something catches his attention. Headlights in a dark corner of the parking lot, far from where normal shoppers would park. He rewinds to 10:45 while Ina is still packing her bags inside the store. A boxy sedan enters the frame, driving slowly, deliberately, in front of the store. The vehicle parks at a strange angle on the east side of the lot, positioned perfectly to watch the front doors. This doesn't look right. This looks like surveillance. This looks like stalking. The car sits there for 35 minutes. The driver never gets out to shop, just watches and waits. At 11:20, 11 minutes after Ina disappeared from camera view, the vehicle's taillights come on, and here's where the footage becomes chilling. There's now a second person visible in the front seat. Someone got into that car, or was pulled into it. Detective Mazinski's pulse quickens. Could that passenger be Ina? He requests surveillance footage from nearby Walmart and Costco, hoping to track where this mysterious vehicle went next. The Costco cameras deliver at 11:21. The same distinctive sedan drives past. And yes, there are definitely two people in the front seat now. The pieces are falling into place. The Walmart footage shows the vehicle heading toward the Quality Inn, a local motel. Wide-angle cameras capture it pulling around to the west side of the building, parking in an isolated area where the lot meets darkness. This is not where someone parks if they're checking into a room. This is where someone parks if they don't want to be seen. The vehicle's lights cut off. Then, 2 minutes later, the taillights flash briefly. A door lock clicking from inside. For the next hour and 15 minutes, the car sits motionless in that dark parking lot. Nobody appears to get in or out. The motion cameras see no movement, just a stationary vehicle in the shadows behind a cheap motel. Detective Mazinski knows what he's watching. This is where Ina lost her life. This is where she was assaulted and killed. Right here, in this parking lot, while the cameras recorded a car that refused to move. At approximately midnight, the taillights come on again. The vehicle leaves the Quality Inn, heading west, toward Chestnut Beach, toward where Ina's body will be discovered 7 hours later. Only the driver is visible now. Somewhere inside that car, hidden from view, lies Ina's lifeless body. The race is on to identify this vehicle and its driver before he can strike again. Officer Darren Boyd takes on the task of analyzing every angle, every frame, looking for distinctive markers. And this isn't just any car. The front driver's side wheel is dark, rusted, while the rear wheel is bright chrome. A chrome strip runs along the bottom of the body. It's a boxy, four-door sedan with mismatched wheels and unique styling. Boyd hits the streets. Remarkably, just 10 minutes into his search and only 1 block from the police station, he spots it. The exact vehicle. Same rust pattern, same chrome strip, same everything. It's almost too easy, which makes it somehow more unsettling. This suspect has been driving around town in plain sight. Boyd conducts a routine traffic stop, but his mind is racing. The man behind the wheel could be Ina's attacker.
Hey, the reason why I stopped you is I got a couple questions for you, okay? Were you down at Albertsons on Thursday night? Drive through the parking lot?
I was still working at Quality Inn about that time.
He also mentions working at the Quality Inn, the very place where detectives believe Ina was attacked. Boyd asks if he can photograph the vehicle. The driver agrees without hesitation. No nervousness, no concern, just cold confidence. Boyd returns to the station and runs a background check on the driver. Basir Muhammad, 53 years old. And the records reveal something that makes every detective's blood run cold. Muhammad has a prior conviction for a severe assault. The forensic evidence already confirmed that Ina suffered a tragic attack before losing her life. Basir Muhammad becomes the primary suspect. Police obtain warrants to seize his car and cell phone, then bring him in for questioning. In the interrogation room,
where did you work at this Quality Inn? And what time did you clock out?
I'll probably go between 9:45 and 11 again.
So anywhere between 9:45 and 11, you're not sure?
No,
Do you recall what you did after you got off work?
went home.
his answers are vague, evasive. Detective Mazinski presses harder. Mohammed admits he used to work at Albertsons. This connects him to both critical locations, where Ina disappeared and where she lost her life. When shown a photo of Ina,
Because I only seen this woman once in the store. And I was working at that time in the store.
detectives know he's lying. They've seen the surveillance footage.
Cameras do not
I
lie.
don't know nothing about no cameras, man. The woman was not in my car.
But they need more evidence before they can make an arrest stick. Mohammed is released, but he remains under intense scrutiny. The crime lab processes Mohammed's vehicle, and the findings are disturbing. Blood on the passenger seat, in the trunk, blue latex gloves and items that clearly indicated a sinister, premeditated motive. This isn't the car of someone who gave an elderly woman an innocent ride home. This is the vehicle of someone who planned an attack, someone who prepared to eliminate evidence, someone who thought through every detail. The blood is sent for DNA analysis. While detectives wait for results, they receive surveillance footage from Albertsons covering the week before Ina's tragic loss, when Mohammed was still working there as a janitor. What they see removes any remaining doubt. On October 30th, 1 week before the attack, cameras capture Ina shopping at Albertsons. They also capture Mohammed. He follows her through the store, out to the front, and then does something shocking. He attempts to kiss her. Ina pulls away, clearly upset, yelling at him as she walks away. This wasn't a woman he'd only met once. This was a woman who had rejected his advances. Mohammed lied about everything. He knew Ina. He pursued Ina. She rejected him. And 1 week later, he took her life. The DNA results come back. The blood in Mohammed's car belongs to Ina Claire Richardson. His cell phone data places him at Chestnut Beach during the exact time frame when her body was left behind. Every piece of evidence points to the same conclusion. 1 week after Ina's body was discovered, Clarkston police arrest Basir Mohammed for assault and the loss of Ina's life. At trial, prosecutors lay out the timeline that surveillance cameras documented so thoroughly. On November 6th, Ina left Albertsons on foot, carrying her groceries through the parking lot. Mohammed, who had been watching and waiting in his vehicle, approached her. Despite his unwanted advance the week before, Ina made a decision that would cost her everything. She accepted his offer of a ride home. Maybe she was tired. Maybe her bags were heavy. Maybe she thought she could trust someone who worked at her local grocery store. Whatever her reasoning, it was the last choice Ina Claire Richardson would ever make. Mohammed didn't drive her home. He drove to the isolated parking lot behind the Quality Inn where he worked. What happened in that vehicle over the next hour and 15 minutes was captured only by cameras that showed a car that wouldn't move. But the evidence from inside the car told the story. Ina fought. She resisted. She broke a fingernail trying to fight off her attacker. But a 69-year-old woman was no match for a predator who was prepared, who planned his attack, who knew exactly what he was doing. After the devastating attack on Ina in his front seat, Mohammed drove her body to Chestnut Beach. He stripped her of her dignity, her identity. He abandoned her at the water's edge without a shred of dignity. Then he drove away, probably thinking he'd gotten away with his crimes. But he forgot about the cameras that tracked his every movement, the cameras that documented his stalking pattern, the cameras that placed him at the scene, the cameras that don't lie. The jury takes little time reaching their verdict. Guilty on all counts. Basir Mohammed is sentenced to 72 years in prison. He will die behind bars, never again free to hurt another vulnerable person. For Glenn Griffiths, the verdict brings no real comfort. His twin sister is gone. The person who shared his birthday, his childhood, his life is gone forever. What Mohammed took wasn't just a sister, but a twin. A connection that began in the womb and was supposed to last a lifetime. Jeff Smith carries his own burden. He thinks about that night constantly. If only he'd offered to call a taxi. If only he'd stayed longer. If only he'd walked her home. The what ifs pile up like stones, weighing on his conscience even though he knows, rationally, that he's not to blame. The monster who took Ina is to blame. But still, Jeff wonders, he always will? Detective Mazinski reflects on the case that consumed his final years on the force. Without those surveillance cameras, without that patient frame-by-frame analysis, Muhammad might have gotten away with it. Ina might have remained a Jane Doe. Her family might never have gotten answers. The cameras were worth their weight in gold, turning invisible crimes visible, transforming hidden predation into documented evidence. Ina's family wants her remembered not for how she died, but for how she lived. As a kind, caring, fun-loving woman who volunteered at soup kitchens, who brightened every room she entered, who made everyone feel known and loved. She was a grandmother everyone wished they had. She was light in a dark world. This case stands as a reminder of several harsh truths. Predators walk among us, looking ordinary, working ordinary jobs, blending into ordinary communities. Sometimes the person offering help is the person you should fear most. Sometimes kindness is mistaken for weakness. Sometimes accepting a ride home is accepting a tragic fate. But this case also demonstrates the power of modern surveillance technology when used properly. Every camera angle mattered. Every timestamp counted. Every frame told part of a larger story that, when assembled completely, left no room for doubt. The technology designed to prevent shoplifting ended up catching a predator. For Glenn Griffiths, the pain never fully subsides. He thinks about the last time he saw Ina, the last conversation they had, the last laugh they shared. If he'd known it was the last time, what would he have said differently? How do you condense a lifetime of love into final words? His message to others is simple but profound. Be kind to people. Let them know you care. Let them know you appreciate them. You never know when it will be the last time. Ina lived that philosophy every day of her life, treating strangers like friends, making everyone feel special. And in a cruel twist of fate, that very openness, that very kindness made her vulnerable to someone who saw generosity as opportunity. Basir Muhammad sits in prison, 72 years stretching before him like an endless corridor. He took a life. He destroyed a family. He traumatized a community. And for what? For an hour of violence? For satisfying some dark impulse? The scales of justice can never truly balance when an innocent life is taken, but at least Muhammad will never hurt anyone again. The cameras at Albertsons continue recording. They capture shoppers coming and going, loading groceries, meeting friends, living their lives. Most of them have no idea that these same cameras once documented a terrible crime, that they provided the evidence to bring an attacker to justice, that they serve as both guardian and witness. Ina Claire Richardson deserved better than to die afraid and alone in a stranger's car. She deserved to finish her shopping, go home, continue her volunteer work, keep spreading kindness through her community. She deserved the life that was stolen from her on a cold November night in 2014. Instead, she became a cautionary tale, a reminder to be careful, to be aware, to understand that danger can wear a familiar face. Her story lives on, not just in the hearts of those who loved her, but in the surveillance footage that brought her attacker to justice. The cameras captured everything. And in the end, those silent witnesses spoke louder than any lie Basir Muhammad could tell. This is how a community lost its innocence. This is how technology caught a monster. This is how 72 years of prison time can never equal one stolen life. This is the story of Ina Claire Richardson, a woman whose final act of trust became her last mistake, but whose legacy of kindness will outlast the evil that took her. Remember her name, remember her smile, remember that cameras don't lie, but people do. And remember that sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one offering to help.